Greetings and salutations, gamers. Welcome to Cast Co-op, the podcast in which three podcast hosts cast together. I am one of your hosts, Luke Lore, the Insipid Ghost, and host of the Xbox Expansion Pass. Joined this week by my big brother and yours, Mr. Ainsley Bowden of Seasoned Gaming Spitcast. Hello, Ainsley Bowden.
What's going on?
Why do you laugh every time? I'm nailing this.
I know.
Thing.
Every time I start laughing when you start. So, but
that's definitely it.
Cast Co-op episode 9. I'm excited. I can't believe. Doesn't feel like we should be at episode 9 already, but we are. It's awesome. I'm here. I'm drinking. I'm excited. I'm on vacation starting tomorrow. I'm ready.
That's exciting. Also joining us on this panel, I suppose, is the host of the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast, Mr. Badbit. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hi, first time, long time.
It's your first time, long time. That's good. All right.
I'm a big fan.
Is my mic okay?
Is this
my
good?
mic all right? Is this nice?
In this episode, we'll be giving a mid-year review. Shut your face. We'll be doing a mid-year review on the big three and just how this year in gaming has gone thus far. Up to this point, it's the halfway point, so it would make good sense to go ahead and do that. That said, we've got a couple things, some housekeeping, as it were, that we need to get to first. Ainsley Bowden,
You're kicking Joe off already?
On Twitter, you had a go at me, sir, and you said that I have not been playing Halo 5 since launch, and that is ridiculous, absurd, and I am distraught over it. I've been an avid Halo 5 player.
I would like to point out, and this is not a dig.
No, it's not a dig. Here we
but
go.
I actually did look up how much you've played because we know Joe's a fake. You know, we don't have to really talk
fake
about
fan.
That.
Bring the numbers out again.
He actually, remember 2 months ago when he told me Halo 5 sucks, and now he plays it every day.
And now I play it every day. Good.
But I kind of laughed because I looked and I saw you have something like 60 some matchmaking victories. Like it doesn't track actual time, I don't think, on the Xbox app, but it shows how many matchmaking victories you have. And I was like 65. I was like, that seems low. I don't know what that is like in comparison to people. I have almost 1,100.
So that might be. We play Warzone a lot.
I know.
Those are long matches.
Well, and I don't even think they count. I think the matchmaking victories is whatever. But actually, it does show time. I'm lying because you did show that you have like 200 hours in it. So my apologies, sir. My apologies.
That's right. also, and this is the part that I'm just going to go full bar into, and this is for all the listeners, every single one of you on Twitter. I put a little call out saying, hey, if you log into Halo 5, usually you have free gold packs that you can gift to people. And then Joe did the same thing. Like he said, why not me? I haven't gotten a single gold pack from anybody at all. And like I'm entitled to free stuff as a content creator. That's something that we've all agreed with. We've all agreed to that as content creators. In fact, it was Joe's idea to do this. So what's up with that? Where's that at?
By the way, why do you need gold packs?
Oh, so in Warzone you get like vehicles and stuff with
the cards and stuff. Okay.
Yeah. It's just fine. But you usually get a
real
free
Halo 5 fan would know that.
No, I know that.
That's a good point, Joe.
I have every single item unlocked.
Oh, sure you do.
So because I unlocked all this in 2016, 5 years ago when the game was hot.
Right,
they've added things to it. We know. So the joke behind that is entitled creators and like demanding free things, but also the fact that we really do like those gold packs because they unlock vehicles for Warzone.
Can I gift you packs like if I buy them? Because I have like almost 200,000 points too.
Not with points. No, not with points. You'd have to spend real money. You don't need to do that. Don't do that. That's part of the joke, I think.
I would have done that.
But they have like cool like new things like
you could give me whatever.
Anyway, we've been playing a lot of Halo 5 before we get to this mid-year review.
I know. I want to play with you guys.
Yeah, well, we've been on. We were just on. Yeah, I want to play with you. Right. We ask him all the time. All the time.
We can't play Warzone though. We got to play some Arena.
For a guy that loves Halo 5, he's way too busy to play it like all the time. Yeah, this guy has the gall, the audacity to beat Dark Souls 3 in what seems like just 2 days. And then you're going through Old Yarnum. It's like, where do you get off?
You're not going to give me shit about playing Bloodborne again.
No, I would never. because I got the itch. Like I think you tweeted out something like no one does a Vista better than From Software
today.
Which is absolutely true. And I'm like, man, I want to go back.
It's rough. I told you, it's rough. Like
going back to Bloodborne. That's because it's 30. Is that why?
It's so it's 30, right? But it's not even a good 30. Like it's got drops, and the frame pacing doesn't even match the frame rate. Mm-hmm. So it took me a while. It's pretty clunky going back to it from modern games.
Oldie Arnhem, it does that real bad.
Yeah, I've gotten used to it a little bit better now because it's all I've played the past few days. So I've kind of reacclimated. But when you first go back, I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this.
It's weird to me how frames per second started mattering to me a whole lot in the last 2 years between better monitors and better hardware. It's nuts.
And I don't usually agree with the hardcore PC guys. Like they get too uppity, but I got to say, but they've been saying this for a while.
Yeah.
I got to give it to them.
I think they've been talking about frames since 2008. It seems like
they've also been doing their taxes there. Nerds.
Yeah. But for me, I am surprised how I'm into the whole FPS thing. Or the frames per second. Like 60 is, I can't go back to 30 type of thing. Like, I think with the introduction of the PS5 and Xbox Series, I'm now clicking performance mode instead of ray tracing mode any chance I can. And like, I was at a buddy's house yesterday or a few days ago rather, and he showed me his OLED TV. And
that's right.
I've literally had the page on my Google Chrome right now. I'm hovering over by. I got my Biden bucks. I'm just hovering. I'm like, be responsible.
You missed the perfect time. The perfect time to buy, seriously, was unless you want literally the brand new thing. I just got and wasted way too much money on. Yeah. But the perfect time to buy was 2-3 months ago because the CX, which was last year's top, was super discounted because they were clearing out the models.
That's I have that. I have the LG 65-inch CX9. I want to say that. I don't know if that's right, but it's
the
a
2019 model.
Is that right? It's the most recent one. That's a bit, well, maybe not the most recent. I got it last year, for the Series X, right? Yeah. And it was the latest one at the time, and that changed my life. Yeah. And I'm not joking when I say that. It changed everything. Joe, I didn't mean to cut your story off, but I care about what I'm saying more than yours.
Absolutely, I care more what you're saying than me. Yeah.
But I just have been going through the Metro Exodus upscale one and the Doom Eternal. I just replayed all of Doom Eternal with its enhancements, and then I had to make the choice of do I want 120 frames, 60 frames, ray tracing on, ray tracing off, all of that stuff. And I also turned into a snob in that bit. I was like, oh my gosh, I care so much about this. In 4K mode, I started feeling nauseous because of the speed. So I switched it into frames per second. Dude, that game at 120 on an OLED is just nuts. Doom Eternal is just wildly impressive.
And you know what the funny thing is? The thing that sold me was Ratchet and Clank looked so crisp.
Really?
It's
bonkers. I think I sent you guys that screenshot, which does no justice to seeing it in person. But
so my question for you, Ains, is I want to get an OLED before Halo and before Horizon.
Yep.
Should I wait till Black Friday for a sale or no point?
My opinion would be to get a 2020 CX.
2020 CX? Okay.
Yes, because the 2021 model that just came out, the C1, is really not a whole lot different from last year's CX. The only thing that's really different is the G1, the one I just got, which, like I said, spent way too much money on, because it actually has the new Evo panel. It's got an actual different new OLED panel on it. But the C1 doesn't have it. So you could probably get a CX for $1,000 or $1,500, depending on size. Substantially less than the C1, and it's almost the exact same TV.
Joe, I will say I had a 55 TCL before this one, and I loved it. I really did love it. Everybody jokes on TCLs, sure. But
great value for the money.
Right. And that was teacher budget, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we splurged, jumped into this one. I got the 65, which I was not prepared for just how big that
Always get the biggest
monitor
you can.
on that monitor was, and then at the same time how light it was.
Yeah.
It was nuts. And like, I bring all this up, the worst part about all of these really impressive monitors and everything else is there's no way to show anybody.
No.
You can't send them a clip or a screenshot or anything else. There's no way for me to show anyone what I'm seeing. Like Sea of Thieves, Doom Eternal, whatever it is. The beauty is only when you're there in front of it. And I will say this to anybody: do not go look at an OLED like Joe did until you're ready to buy one, because it will ruin you. It will ruin you for a monitor.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
Yeah, Dan has a 65-inch top of the line QLED, and I explained to him that QLED is just a fancy term for nothing. Essentially, it's them trying to market it like an OLED, but it's not. It's literally different technology. And he came over. He used to come over for Big Cast and stuff, and I was playing something one day, and he came over. He's like, I was just playing that. Why the hell does it look so much better here? And I was like, because this is an OLED. Like, so yeah. But to your point, always get the biggest size you can. Funny enough, like I installed my new one. My 65-inch OLED is sitting on the floor right behind the monitor because I got to move it upstairs, and I just haven't yet.
What a tough life you lead, Ains.
What a tough life. Just so much adversity you just spoke to me. I don't know how you've overcome it all.
Can we take a moment and just reflect on Ains now? He's got to take that poor 65-inch upstairs.
465 OLED. White neighborhood. Anyway.
You guys want my job?
Yes!
No, I do not.
You need a fat little Hispanic boy? I'll help you.
Yeah.
I'll play the part.
I'll give you a week. Actually, I don't even need a week. I'll give you 2 days. We'll see how long you last.
All right.
Ains,
I love
Ains
cracking under pressure, Ains. That's my kink.
He once explained to me what he did, and I don't know what he does. I just want you guys to know that. I was like, oh, that sounds a lot.
But going back to the original thing, yes, buy an OLED.
Okay.
Yeah.
And buy LG. And definitely go CX, same as Luke's. If you can still find them. You just look for LG CX 65, it'll come up, because the CX, there isn't a 2021 model, so what will come up will definitely be the 2020.
Okay.
It's funny to me how much this stuff matters now. Back in the day, it was like, did you get a 16-bit or a 32-bit system? And that was the argument. That was the argument. Right now, it's like you got to have the right monitor, the right audio. You got to have a good headset. You got to have a good system.
Tech has come a long way.
And it matters. It really matters. And I am fascinated by how they're doing this generation blending where games are cross-gen and some games, not EA's, but some games are cross-gen. And like, how is my experience on Halo Infinite going to be when I'm playing next to the guy who's playing on cloud, who's playing on a TCL monitor like I was, who's playing on an OLED, on a QLED? What up, Dan? Shout out. Like, what's it going to be like? Like, that's a neat thing. And I wonder if there's a genuine competitive advantage for some or others. I don't care about it. I'm too old for that stuff to matter to me. But the pro streamers, the pro gamers, the ones that went into that GameStop, did you see that? That was the funniest thing. Did you guys see that?
I think I saw it. I think it was from a couple years ago, supposedly.
Was it?
And it got reposted, but still, there's nothing funnier than, to me, literally, like nothing funnier than someone who has a big head and is so full of themselves, male, female, whoever, and tries to like play on that and just gets put in their place. That's just hilarious to me.
Yep.
Hey guys, I don't like to brag.
Oh god, did you just buy an OLED?
No. All
right, good.
It is in my Amazon cart though. Now that you mention it, I got an inside source. I got some rumors. I got some speculation. Would you like to?
You're an inside source?
Yeah.
No. Before you tell us this news, do you want to make a YouTube video with all caps and tell us breaking news?
Is it Xbox or PlayStation related?
This is why I gotta get the green screen behind me.
Yeah,
it's Xbox.
Oh, so you got Phil Spencer in the thumbnail then?
Yes, and it's with the rocket launcher meme one.
This is good.
Can we talk about the rumors and speculations about rumors and speculations?
Oh boy,
for just a hot second, because
I'm
if
you need to go on a rant, go for it.
Yeah, man, it's guys, Twitter, social media, YouTube. you don't have inside sources. You just have rumors and just a random Twitter account that speaks in vagaries, and then that's it. There's like, you have a document that nobody wants to, you can't show anybody, but you're saying that I want to. I don't know I'm sick of the acquisition talk. Like, oh, this is acquisition season. Like, what the hell does that mean? I'm sick of it. And and not the fact that, like, oh, Microsoft's going to be buying something. It's just, I'm sick of the talk that Microsoft's going to buy something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I this is interesting because we're recording this on July 13th to go out a little bit ahead of recording a little bit ahead of when this goes live. As of today, we just got news that Phil Spencer is looking at making Phil Spencer and Matt Booty. They're going to try and acquire studios outside of the standard Japan, certain spots of North America and Europe,
which
right?
we've talked about previously.
Right. Like, that's not news.
No.
It's not surprising. And you're right, Joe. The idea of this acquisition season talk, we've known for months. And this is not like we've known like exclusively. Everybody has known this stuff. And when people get riled up over it's obnoxious. And I genuinely think it's the content creation crew. Like, it's the people who have to make content. Their lives are built around either social media followings or content creation. And they're doing it for more because you're right. It's too much and it's excessive, and people are reading between lines that don't exist, and it's exhausting.
It's meaningless and exhausting. Yeah, it is. I don't really have anything to add, guys. I was joking about it with some of the other guys earlier today that it's ridiculous. In fact, I forget what I put in the search. I searched on Twitter some keywords, right, and started going through, and there's people, the regulars in the Twitter social space that are always talking about this. I found posts going back to like 2018 talking about, is Xbox going to buy Crytek? Maybe. And it's like, Jesus Christ, guys, let it go. like you don't know anything, period. You don't know anything. You're just going off the echo chamber. And second, even if they do, it doesn't matter. Like, when it happens, then let's talk about it. And even then, it's still speculation because you don't even know what they're going to do with the studio. Like, so just let it develop. There's so many better things we could be talking about as a gaming community than possibly Xbox buying different, or anyone for that matter, buying different developers.
Yeah.
It's just such a boring, non-starting conversation.
Because all it is like, it's what ifs. Like, last week it was Microsoft's gonna go and buy portions of WB Games, and the portions being Traveler's Tales that make the Lego games and NetherRealm, and it was shot down by the WB, and I'm sorry for the loud Puerto Rican family.
Your mom. What up, Miriam?
What up? Yeah,
I told her Joe's, or was that coming through Luke's mic?
My mic.
Yeah, it might. No, that was definitely my mic, Joe.
Yeah, this is what I live with on a daily basis, y'all. But no, you actually had the WB communications director flat out say, "We're not these. They're part of us. They're not going anywhere. They came with us when we merged with Discovery." And yeah, people be like, "I don't believe you." That's, of course you're saying that right now because the deal isn't done yet.
It's literally our community's version of conspiracy theorists.
Yes.
Yeah, these flat earthers are out there thinking that Microsoft's going to buy the internet, and they're anti-vaxxing it up. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it is nuts. And
the funny thing is, a lot of these same people, as you've seen, are the ones who claim to be multi-platform. Yeah. So if you're multi-platform, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter.
Yep. Yeah. One of the interesting things is you can, it's very easy for anybody that cares to, and I don't think people care to, and that's fine, right? But I think it's very easy to track somebody's record, right? These people with inside sources, you can go back and look at their records, and people have done so to Historic Leaguer Jeff Grubb. It's got like an 80% track record of being correct. All right, that's pretty darn good, all things considered. I think Jez Corden's probably in there around like
there for sure.
He's up there in that realm. But then it just trickles down below because I don't know how you get above 80 when things change last minute. Like for the big companies. But some of these people are like inside source, leaked, big news. Nah, dog. You're quoting that article from 3 years ago. That's not news. It's not surprising. And it's weird to speculate like to these nonsense rumors. And I get exhausted by it. I can't do it. I can't do it. XEP might suffer in terms of numbers because I just can't get in on that realm. You know, I think we talked about that before with Season Gaming, right?
Same thing. Yeah. I mean, I could post about rumors and leaks and acquisitions once a week, and I could drive traffic from it without a doubt. But we're not going to do that because I just don't. I feel it's meaningless. But yeah, it's exhausting, man. It's the same old nonsense. It's just another way to try and drive clicks to bullshit content, and I don't have time for it.
Well, listen, you can expect my video 6 a.m. shocked face, Phil Spencer, all caps.
Jim Ryan dead on the ground.
Yeah. Yep. Phil Spencer like Kali Madim. It's just like, it's nuts.
You'd probably have 10, 20,000 hits by next week.
Sorry guys, I was just texting my source, the new Xbox Studio.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything surprising. It rhymes with lizard.
Whoa.
He goes by Chill Pencer.
You're onto something, Haynes. God, I hope some nerd quotes us out and puts it somewhere.
Hey guys, so you're not going to believe this.
23 minutes in, we are going to get to our big old topic, which is our mid-year review, gentlemen, looking at where gaming has come for the big three since 2021 started. Now, we just finished up wrapping and discussing about OLEDs and how important they are. Well, Nintendo heard us. They heard us. They said, now the new thing is OLED screens, and we are going to bring out, finally, the OLED Switch. It's a big deal. It's going to have an OLED screen, and that's cool. That was cool. That was the big Nintendo news. What's Ains? You having an emotional breakdown?
Don't pull my cord on this. I ranted on Big Cast about Nintendo for like a month straight, and I said I wasn't going to do it anymore because I don't like to be negative. And then they came out with this, and I just kind of got into it again this past weekend. I just can't do it. I get it. Like, people are like, oh, it's a soft upgrade to get new users and entice new people, and like trying to explain the business model to me. I'm like, I get it. Mm-hmm. I understand. It's going to sell, and it's going to drive sales. It's the same exact thing they did with the DS to a T. It's the same model. Great. That's fine. It's going to sell. But 4 years, 4.5, by the time this launches, it'll be 4.5 years after the Switch launch. They still haven't upgraded the CPU and GPU, which are from 2011, basically. They're laptop parts from a decade ago. We make fun of the launch PS4 and Xbox One as these ancient consoles now. The Switch isn't even as powerful as them. Like, it's unbelievable to me that we're going into 2022, 2023 with this being Nintendo's core hardware. It just doesn't even make sense to me anymore. I can't do it. I could go on and on about it. Don't advertise a LAN port in 2021 because I'm going to make fun of you.
That's Dreamcast tech, bro.
Okay. Dreamcast had a 56K modem. Get your shit straight. Okay.
Oh,
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You're right. I just want to apologize to everyone. That's on me. That's on
the OG Xbox. The OG Xbox was the first console with a LAN port, and they advertised it 20 years ago. It made sense to advertise it then. Okay. Like I said, I can't go on, but I can't do Nintendo anymore, man. I've just come to accept that I have my Switch. I'll play it when big games come out that I like still. They're just not for me anymore. It's a completely different market, different focus. I can't do it.
Well, 7 months into the year, Ains, we got news of this Switch just now. We've got Skyward Sword in a few days from the time of this recording. Metroid Dread. You're right. Metroid Dread later this year. There's going to be a new WarioWare. But how has their year gone thus far? It seems like a lot of what Nintendo's got going on is the second half of this year. Have they done anything at all through 2021 that you would respect or feel like is good so far? Joe, how about you, buddy?
Yeah,
I checked to see if it was muted.
I don't have anything. If we want to talk sales, sure, the revenue's higher than it's ever been. Actually, it's second highest it's ever been to the Wii in 1 year. Second highest year literally ever. Their highest profit margins ever, all time. Nintendo. What have they done as a end user? Like for me, I don't know. What do you have?
Nothing.
I'm not even being facetious right now. Like I can't think of something they've delivered in the first half of this year that has impressed me.
Yeah.
I can't
name a goddamn thing. Like I really can't. Like I take a look at that OLED model and I'm just like, you know, the gaming community, you're something else. Because we had something beautiful. We had something special. We had this console years ago, like 6 or 7 years ago. It was called the PlayStation Vita, and it was fantastic. It had an OLED screen.
It had more features than the Switch.
It had Bluetooth.
Had touch screens front and back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wow, like this.
Side note, that back touch screen was just ridiculously dumb.
No, I know. I'm just saying it had it.
It just had it. Yeah.
But yeah, sorry.
You know, like to echo what Ain said, the land port situation, like that's an actual still. That's in their main ad of like, this is why you should care about it. And I was listening, God, I forget who I was listening to, but they were like, we don't even know what type of land port that is. It may not even be a gigabit. Don't know.
There's no way it's a gigabit. It's Nintendo. They purposely buy cheap components to keep prices down.
Well, and that's why I was going to rant about. I hate. So this is a big thing in like home theater.
That beer started there. We said Nintendo.
And it's going to be gone in a second talking about this. This is like I'm a home theater guy too, as you guys know, right? And the differentiation in tech drives us crazy. So when they come out and just say it's OLED because that's the hot word right now, because as we talked about at the start, everyone now realizes what OLED means, right? There is a huge disparity in quality between bottom barrel OLED, right, and like your top end OLED panels, just like anything else. Mm-hmm. It's like saying it has speakers, and that's supposed to be special. Okay, well, what kind of speakers are they? This is literally bargain basement OLED, right? Sure, it's OLED. Who's buying 720p OLED screens? I don't care how small they are. It just doesn't make any sense.
It's going to be so clear, but you see, it's only 7 inches. It's crystal. It's going to be crystal. It may not be 720. It may be 420.
Phone screens were like 1440p like 4 years ago, and they're smaller than the Switch. The other thing that drives me crazy, well, it's because of the ratio of the size of the screen to how you're. Shut up. No, shut up. Like, you're dumb. Just stop the argument.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Just dunked on flat earthers, leakers, content creators, and now Nintendo fans.
Stop defending the most. And if you're a Nintendo fan, great. Like if you love what they're putting out, then by all means, great. Like I think in all seriousness, we're not picky about what people enjoy, right? Like enjoy whatever you're gonna enjoy. But let's be honest with ourselves, for God's sakes. An OLED 720p screen in nearly 2022 is nothing. As you just said, Joe, Vita had a OLED screen in 2011 when it was introduced, or 2012.
Shovel Knight looked great on it, by the way.
The what?
Shovel Knight looked great on it, by the way.
Sorry. I'm already, yeah.
So, like, for me, what have they done for me lately? The last game I truly played was like Animal Crossing, and I got to the part where the dog played the banjo, and he's like, let's open up this fucking pit, let's go. And I'm like, all right, wall of death, let's go, banjo, horse dog guy. And then it was like the end of the game, and I haven't touched my Nintendo Switch since.
Opened a pit? What do you mean?
What game is this?
Oh, you guys don't get it. You guys okay?
Yeah, Animal Crossing? I've never played Animal Crossing, so.
Okay, so when you beat the game, there's like a little dog. I forget what his name is.
You can beat the game?
Banjo. Yeah. Beat the game, like get through the story, and he plays a little banjo for you. Okay. And I like to always think that he's actually playing heavy metal. He wants to open up.
Oh, and that's what I thought you meant, like a pit.
Yeah, open up the pit.
Okay, all right.
Wall of death.
I think Luke's surprise was mine too. I didn't know there was a story mode in Animal Crossing.
Yeah. But like that's the last time I touched my Switch, and it's kind of remained off. Like I play Mario Kart here and there with our friend Sean, but other than that, this was like in the first 2 years my favorite Nintendo console. And now it's just like All right, well, cool indie. I'll wait for it to come out somewhere else at this point.
I agree. I don't feel like they're having a good year in terms of anything that they're bringing special to gamers. I feel like that the niche of Nintendo gamers kind of sticks within its own community. I was really disappointed with that new Switch model. Joking aside, they're not fixing the Joy-Cons, which are notorious for having issues and expensive. First half of the year, not a lot of games for them, kind of like Xbox. They're pretty dry in terms of like games just for them that were big and stand out. But I feel like they're poised for a very good back half of the year with some of the releases they've got, starting with Skyward Sword, but none of them thrill me. I'm really hopeful for Metroid Dread, but then I'm like, no, I'm not going to boot up my Switch for it, given everything else that's coming. I don't know. They're a weird conundrum and clearly don't fit. But I will say that we put out this on Twitter asking a few people their thoughts, and Dano, who is always supportive, he gave us rundowns for Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox. But I want to read his Nintendo one for you guys. This is Dano. He says, they added online to Mario Party, then announced a new one with older gen boards. OLED model announced with 5 new features. 11 out of 10.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. Musa gave Nintendo a 6 out of 10. He was rating this one. And then we had our buddy Mr. Suddy said, Nintendo, who cares? To be fair, I only have an Xbox. And then he has some questions for us, which I could read later. But it felt like our very small community not thrilled with Nintendo either in any way, shape, or form.
And as I always say, right, I want to be. Like, I want to love Nintendo, and they just make it so damn difficult. But I think that's why I've just come to the realization that I've got to accept that they're just not for me anymore. They're just not. And it's just a sad fact, you know? So I honestly, if you were to ask me right now to say, play something Nintendo, right, that I have, if I had to be forced to only play Nintendo, I'd be playing my Super Nintendo Mini all day over the Switch. It's just more enjoyable.
Yeah, I get it.
Because I think to Joe's point, Animal Crossing came out in March of last year. That's their, please correct me, anyone, if you're wrong, but first party, that's their last big new game. They had Mario Golf just come out last month, but I don't know if you really consider that big. I mean, it's not, it doesn't do a whole lot.
Nobody liked it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not doing a whole lot in the market, right? Animal Crossing was huge. That was a year and a half ago. What are you doing? They released Mario 3D earlier this year, which I bought. I own it for the Wii U because I'm an idiot. I bought it. I played it for about an hour.
I bought it and haven't touched it, and I loved that game on the Wii U. Really loved it. It was probably one of my favorites. Haven't touched it. It's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, let's shift away from dunking on Nintendo because I think it's fair to say that for the type of gamers that we are, Nintendo has not had a good year thus far. I would barely give them a C if we were doing ratings, which I don't know that we are, but I was not happy with their year thus far. I'll
give Nintendo a rating.
Okay, what you got? That's a Peter Griffin joke right there.
That's great. Every time instead of Meg, every time Nintendo.
Oh God!
I'm gonna start doing that.
I love this show. It's terrible.
Guys, I could get a CX for $300 less. Very tempted.
Less than
the C1.
Really? That's it? I would have thought it'd be much.
Yeah, 300. I would go C1 and give it.
Really?
I don't know jack about TVs, but like that's not a big difference once you're into those realms of prices.
All right.
Yeah. Let's do Xbox now. Xbox has had a really, really interesting year thus far in that I, hosting the Xbox Expansion Pass, have had a lot of good news to talk about.
Yeah.
Almost for the entirety of the year thus far. It's been a lot of good vibes and good news almost every week. Almost. That said, not a lot. No Xbox games have come out this year that are Xbox specific. In fact, we're heading into the back half of the year, which is their, 6 games in 6 months or something, 6 exclusives in 6 months kind of thing. Leading up to this, no. But now they've got the Ascent and Flight Simulator hitting console, and then it's kind of going to get going from there. So it's an interesting one for me to break down because there's all good news, but no games. It's been acquisitions and showcases. Where are you guys thinking
and
with Xbox
rumors
so
of
far?
acquisitions?
Rumors.
My inside source. And my inside source. Don't forget that. Don't forget it.
That's all right.
News at 11. Can I start?
Yes, Joe, please.
Thank you. As the host of the PlayStation podcast, we can get the negativity out of the way here. I think I haven't been this optimistic about an Xbox product since the Xbox 360. Like, for me, Xbox is hitting on all the notes they need to hit with me to get me excited in their brand again and to get me to trust them again, like I did with the Xbox 360. I love that console. Xbox 360 maybe
amazing console.
Maybe amazing. My favorite, maybe second favorite console of all time.
Good man.
Like,
interesting that we think console. That because it broke down and they had to go through multiple revisions before it got to its final form. But you're right. We all think back very pleasantly on it.
Yeah.
Rough start.
Yeah, the hardware had problems, but that generation and what it brought to gaming was monumental.
Yeah. Not like anything. So for the series, I think in terms of like social media wise, the good news about this console is really driving home the good feeling that I have going into the Xbox ecosystem and actually giving it a good, honest go. So I think news wise, like, we joked about it, but the acquisitions are impressive. Like, Bethesda is huge, really big get for them. And them being able to finalize it, I think that E3 showcase for them really solidified that they are going to be a force to be reckoned with in the coming years. And the roadmap seemed I'm really hyped for those games coming to the Xbox, or just the Game Pass ecosystem, because that's what it is now. And so, though there is, I would say I would give them a fat F when it comes to like exclusives of like, why am I buying this console? Because there is no game right now until Halo, and we don't know as of yet when that's coming out. Yeah, at the same exact time, they've been doing day and date, on Game Pass with some pretty noteworthy games. One of that being like MLB The Show. That's really showing that, hey, what we're lacking in exclusives, we're going to make up for these deals that's going to make your head turn one way or the other. And that being said as well.
Well, say the noteworthy ones did well on Game Pass. Outriders, that Dungeons and Dragons one,
Dark
Alliance. Yep, that one. It may not have reviewed well, but like Game Pass did them a good service.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to note that for anybody that was listening. Like, they've had a lot of day and dates to kind of make up for the zero reasons to buy a Series S or X exclusively, mind you.
Yeah. So for me as a PlayStation gamer, I 2 thumbs up, man. Like, this is great. I think Xbox is in a really good position, and I'm sold on the promise that is to come from Xbox, especially when it comes to this holiday season. You have a lot of games to start looking forward to. Dude, the Forza stuff we've been seeing, even through Twitter compression, I'm just like, hot damn, we're about to do it. We're about to
imagine that on an OLED. Valley. Just saying.
Imagine that on an OLED on my phone because of xCloud. That's better screen than the Switch.
That's right. So, like, for me, I'm sold on the promise. I'm really excited for what's to come from them, though. In the idea of exclusives, they haven't done much, but I'm still playing Halo. I'm still playing Sea of Thieves on the regular, so I'm liking it. I'm liking what they're doing, man.
Ains, where are you at with Xbox this year so far?
Yeah, man, I think I'm really high on them. To your point, I think literally the only thing you could point to as a negative would be that, like, if you're specifically looking for first-party published new games. But we also, and this is an excuse, but we also do have to at least remember that it's still the first year of a new console cycle.
Absolutely.
And I think it's only spotlighted a little more because PlayStation, which we'll get to, of course, in terms of games, has continued the string they had from the PS4 era, and they've had a really good first year for PS5. Whereas, for PlayStation, I think it might be their best. If you look back at every PlayStation generation, it might be their best first year so far. We can debate that in a second. But for Xbox, I think that makes it look a little worse because when you look at them everywhere else and every other area, as you guys already both kind of commented on, they're killing it. The FPS boost and auto HDR, you know, this kind of revitalizing existing games is amazing. I use that way more than I would have thought, and it's more impressive than I would have thought it would be. As I've told other people, you know, I started playing Prey on my PC a short while ago, and because it was better than my old Xbox, right? Just with FPS boost and auto HDR, my Series X runs that game way better than my PC now. It's night and day, which is crazy because it's free. It's not like I bought a new copy or did anything, right? So backwards compatibility, these features, their communication, we've talked about too many times, right? But they're just very transparent and open with where they're going. And to Joe's point, the kind of cherry on top was the E3 conference to say, here's what's coming in the rest of the year, but here's where we're going. And I think they showed that extremely well, which I know we already touched on as well. But their games, when you talk about first party games, they really do start a few weeks from as we're recording this, right? You start to then get like a game launching in Game Pass like every 2 weeks for the rest of the year. And that includes games all the way down, you know, like The Ascent, I know is getting a lot of eyes on it, even though it's indie. Got Flight Sim at home with variable refresh rate, you know, new technology, again, pushing kind of the boundaries in the console space. And then, of course, Halo Infinite it's going to be a juggernaut this fall. Forza Horizon 5 is going to be a juggernaut this fall. But you've also got, you know, things like Psychonauts 2 and, you know, all these other things you're getting excited for.
It's just relating Psychonauts 2 to Xbox because, I mean, obviously they're acquired.
Yeah.
But it's coming to other consoles, but we think of that like an Xbox game.
Well, I'm talking about Xbox like publishing, right?
Gotcha. Okay. I see what you mean.
Yeah, because I mean, yes, it is coming to all platforms. Same with Outer Wilds and stuff, right? Previously. In fact, you know, people may forget Psychonauts 2 was crowdfunded actually to start. It wasn't even
Fig.
just by Fig. Yeah, exactly right. Anyway, but my point being is that all the stuff we've been talking about for the past couple of years, right? The acquisitions from 2018 and then the studio's growing, right? We've seen more of Hellblade 2 now, where we saw stuff from In Exile a couple weeks ago in their new studio and the work they're doing. And we know that, you know, Fable has been, Playground Games has been talking about stuff outside of Forza Horizon, the engine usage they're doing. There's a lot that's churning, and it's coming to that point which we've been hoping for, which is where Xbox is really going to hit the stride with games to match everything else. And to Joe's point, I think by next year, we're going to be talking about Xbox in a light that we've never talked about them before. Even in their peak 360 days, I think they're going to surpass that, personally.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. I have no doubt in my mind. And Bethesda was, I said cherry on top previously. Bethesda was like the cake on top of the cake, right? That was like the domino they slammed down on the table to say all of these amazing franchises that you've known and loved are now Xbox. So it's impressive. That was long-winded. I'm sorry. If I talk about the first half of the year, it's exactly what you guys already said. Everything has impressed me to a T except for first-party delivery, but they've already kind of shown where that's going very, very soon. In fact, the second half of the year. So I think they've done a tremendous job. I don't really have a whole lot of negatives to say about them. Series X as a console, I love. It's an amazing piece of hardware. Really brilliantly designed. As I said, the auto HDR, FPS, quick resume, all these features. It's been great, man. I love it.
The interesting thing for me about Bethesda is I was not overly thrilled by many of the franchises. I thought it was a big deal, but like I don't play many of them beyond like Wolfenstein and Doom, right? Okay. The way they've handled, the way they've showcased, the way they've discussed Bethesda since they became kind of one entity has really impressed me. Just the messaging around it, I've been very just pleased with overall, because I was just nervous. Like, how are they going to coexist? Bethesda was at a point where they were now doing their own E3 shows for years. Yeah, that's how big they were.
They have a huge audience. Yes.
And so it was like, all right, how are you going to merge these two? But I think they've handled a lot of that messaging very well.
Yeah.
With a few very small exceptions here and there that I'm I don't even off the top of my head remember specifically, but they've done a good job with that. And then more to the point, they've handled hardware well and had. We look at the lack of games, despite all this good news. Had Halo Infinite launched when it originally intended, Joe, you're weird, then we would have Halo Infinite in kind of a state and still no other stuff. So they and all the systems would still be sold out. So I think they made the right choice in delaying that, which is only understandable in hindsight, right?
Of course.
Like we're only able to confirm that in hindsight. But for all intents and purposes, Infinite looks like it's now on the right track, truly. And their second half of the year is what's selling consoles. Their roadmap is what's selling consoles. They've been sold out nonstop, but they've not had the content. It's Game Pass. It's the messaging. It's their verbiage, the communication. Yeah.
Well, let's not also forget that they have done a really good job too for their fans of providing ongoing content for games. So when we're talking about content, it's you're kind of preaching towards launches, game launches, new IPs, right? We saw the Disney collaboration with Sea of Thieves, and Sea of Thieves just in general, right, continuing to grow. You guys know that as well as anyone. Forza Horizon 4 continues to get new content. State of Decay 2 continues to get new content. And all of these games have also been updated for Series X and Series S hardware, right, for free. There's literally no paid upgrades on the Xbox side. They do all of this stuff, FPS boost, HDR, Series X and S upgrades. All the stuff we're talking about has been free. They've just, that's a lot of goodwill they've built up for their fan base to kind of smooth over the wait for their first party to start hitting.
Those things like FPS boost and HDR and some of the forward compatibility stuff they're doing, it is surprising to me because it's not just buzzwords, which I was thinking it would be. I was like, oh, FPS boost, whatever. And then I started experiencing it in these compatibility modes, and I was like, all right, this is absolutely where it's at. This is absolutely
Prey was like that. I tried Fallout 4, and it's night and day. I mean, literally night and day from what it was. Oh, and by the way, you don't have to go looking for your game saves. You know what? They're freaking there. It's amazing.
Yeah. That has been a very interesting narrative every time a game that's cross-gen comes out for Xbox versus the PlayStation stuff, because I watch the PlayStation community struggle through that, how to get download the PS4 version, update it, and then you can start your PS5 version, but you download the PS4 version on your PS5, and just very, very weird, very, very weird stuff. But before we go to PlayStation, because before we go to PlayStation, overall, it sounds like we're pretty high on Xbox's year, but we are noting the lack of games.
Yeah.
Xbox has no games, bro.
They got no games whatsoever.
Did you hear? I got an inside source tells me Xbox is dead.
Interesting.
Oh.
Well, let me read to you quickly some of our listeners. James Suddy, who I hate, he gave Xbox a 9. Said it's been killing them based on the news he's seen. That
he
says
gave it a 9. I give that a thumbs up.
He said, "I hate you." That said, he did say that he only has an Xbox, so note that caveat. Mojo Blue says he gives Xbox a 10. Goodness. Musa gave Xbox an 8 out of 10. And our boy Dano wrote us an essay here. 7 out of 10, positive, strictly for Game Pass library moves. Some of the stuff we noted, the stuff that's not a buzzwords. Cloud gaming is officially out of beta. And Games with Gold is still slacking aside from January and February, but a very promising future from E3. So it sounds like a lot of the people that listen to the show were in agreement with this. Which I guess would make sense. There it goes. PlayStation. Joe, tell us about PlayStation's year thus far.
Man, it's weird. This is, honestly,
I'll get another beer for this one.
Please.
He
cared not at all about what you had to say.
I do. You can even wait if you want, but
okay, I'll wait. We'll wait.
Don't make people wait.
No. I mean, you want to get you know.
Okay, is he bald?
I think he is, dude.
Is he? Okay, all right.
I mean, you can see it. He's losing.
He's fighting it, right?
Audience, right? You can see. I think he put a little Rogaine in it. God bless his heart.
If you look at the back of his yellow chair, it says, "Dear Ains, we love you sincerely, Cyberpunk people."
Look, beer fridge. Go.
So
Returnal and Clank,
Shut up. Shut your mouth. No, I can tell you that I think by the end of this generation, Xbox is going to be the market leader just by the way that they're acting. That's what I think, and I think we're going to determine that not by console sold, but by Game Pass being so dominant. I mean, the positive buzz, and it has no first party, AAA slapper.
This gen stuff.
Yeah, this gen stuff is
Banger.
truly remarkable. Shut up. So for me, the thing is with PlayStation, it's kind of a mixed bag, where we take a look at the games that they've come out for the PlayStation 5 and also for the PlayStation 4, for some games, most of them, is they've been great. Like Miles is fantastic. Demon Souls is fantastic. Ratchet and Clank is fantastic. Returnal is fantastic. Sackboy is legitimately great. Astrobot, fantastic.
Sir, some of those are 2020 games.
Sure. But what I'm saying is, I'm going through the launch. You shut your mouth. And Miles Morales continues to sell out by the day. So, or sell systems by the day. And like numbers wise, PlayStation's doing really well as well. Like, I saw there was a new refresh on the UK store, and that's how you determine success apparently. And you saw like Ratchet and Clank and PS5s just bam, boost that thing up to number 1 again. So people are thirsty for a PlayStation, that's for sure. The games are stellar as they should be, but it is the total lack of communication, transparency by Sony themselves that have me concerned. Not that we're facing an arrogant Sony, but that we're facing a Sony that is not equipped to go up against a serious Microsoft, a nervous Sony, I think, in some regards. At least that's like the temperature I get reading in the room in terms of PlayStation fans, where like news has been flat. Has not been that great to cover PlayStation, in honest. They've been very random with their announcements of like, hey, we're teaming up with Haven Studios. Be excited when this game comes out in 4 years. Hey, we teamed up with Deviation Games. 4 years. Firewalk Studios. Maybe that comes out a little sooner. None of these games or studios have proven track records. They just have some stellar management that we've seen throughout the years. Be excited, please. PSVR 2, please be excited about it. And in terms of what they've shown us this summer, everybody has shown us a show. Oh boy. Right? Like, we know that there's going to be another big Sony thing in August, apparently.
But you did just have a state of play like last week.
Yeah, sure. But even
showcasing the Xbox game weirdly.
Yeah, I love Deathloop.
Me too.
It looks so awesome.
Yep.
I'm saying that was a weird narrative. That's what I was going for.
Sure.
This is an odd narrative.
And it was actually the first time Sony felt the most transparent with us when they're like, hey, this is what to expect out of this state of play. Mm-hmm. No Horizon, no God of War. But those we will talk about in the weeks to come. So it's like, okay, we know that there's something else, but man, your silence is deafening when we got week after week. Yeah, an awesome thing to get excited over an Xbox. I think that's definitely going to trickle in year 2, year 3, year 4, as Game Pass gets more and more games in that library, more games that you can't avoid. I may not be into every Bethesda game that comes out for sure, but I'm going to tell you that, though I feel nothing about a Starfield, that game's going to sell subscriptions, right? So for me, I am concerned of the silentness of Sony, and I am getting tired that we're seeing games on PS4 and PS5. I'm getting a little tired of that. I paid $500 for this thing. PS4 was a great system, but tell me when you're going to actually cut the cord. That's my TED talk.
That seems weird to me because we've been praising cross-gen for Xbox and the way they're doing some of the stuff that they're doing. But also, like, Ratchet and Clank was PS5 only.
Right. And Demon Souls and Returnal.
Yeah.
So we got 3. But like Horizon, nope. God of War, nope. GT7, nope.
That's
all
two more than
cross.
Xbox has, which is just the medium, right?
Oh,
well, Falconeer.
Sure, you give them too much better.
I'm trying to think about what launched only,
Yeah. So again, I think it was Jimbo Ryan a year ago going, we believe in generation and hard to
Well, they advertised Gran Turismo 7 as PS5 only.
Yeah.
It's literally in their trailer. Well, it's not anymore, but it was.
Mm-hmm. So it's weird the way they talk to us, and by weird I mean the silence. I really hope this next show hits it out of the park. If it doesn't, I'm just even more befuddled. Like I'm just confused.
The achievement hall's ramping up.
Listen, I'm gonna look for a new co-host for the achievement hall. Takers, anybody that has a big achievement list score.
It's weird, Ains, that PlayStation of the two in this particular discussion has released more exclusive games to their next gen hardware, now to current gen hardware, has continuously been selling out, and has games that we know are coming from established franchises like God of War and Horizon.
Yep.
It's weird that we know all that, and the PlayStation guy is down on it.
I think.
Why is he like that?
If I pick up on what Joe's kind of putting down here, it's a sense of a market shift. Whereas the 360 for Xbox, we joke about this being cyclical, right? The 360, especially in the early years, the PS3 caught up eventually, but in those early years of 360, people forget that Xbox dominated the conversation. I mean, it just dominated. It outsold like 3-1 the PS3 in the US in the early years. They had exclusive BioShock, Mass Effect. Skyrim was a disaster on PS3. It basically didn't work at times. I mean, 360 was the console. And then we got into the space of PS4 and we saw the reverse. Everyone knows we don't have to talk about it, right? PS4 dominated, better games, etc. over Xbox One. And I think what Joe's alluding to, it's not that the PS5 is bad. It's not what they've delivered is bad. It's not that there's not things to be excited for, like what you just said. I think we're all over the moon. I mean, I'm chomping at the bit for Horizon. But it's a feeling that PlayStation is playing a different game. Like, it almost feels like Xbox is playing major leagues and PlayStation is still using the AAA playbook. And it just, there's other areas as you look at the ecosystem, the damn word I've been talking about forever, that Xbox is just playing at a different level now. PlayStation can't match the cloud stuff. They just can't, at least not in the short term. They can't match Game Pass right now, or at least they're even not attempting to match it from what we know. And I think the bullishness of which Xbox entered this gen and is approaching the market and cloud gaming and Game Pass, I think has taken Sony off guard. I think they just, it's a weird thing to watch develop. So again, little kind of long-winded, but Joe, you can tell me if I'm off or right or wrong, but it feels like that's what you're alluding to. It's not necessarily that we're missing experiences on PlayStation right now. It just feels like from their communication, their planning, and what they're kind of showing their fans right now, it seems very templated, like they're just kind of going with the flow. Whereas Xbox, It feels like it's like chess versus checkers, right? It feels like Xbox is playing chess and PlayStation's playing checkers right now. And we don't even know truly if that's true. It's just what it feels like. So
I think what helps is that I know Xbox's map. Its roadmap is going to be, I didn't think Game Pass would ramp up this fast. But like,
wait till this fall.
Exactly. Like once this fall hits, it's like, and here we go. Let's do it. It's nuts. And it kind of feels like, when you're about to get sick, your body's like, something's happening. Don't know what's happening, but something's about to go down.
Something's not right here.
Exactly. Something isn't right here. And I think what we're in the process of doing is kind of like an autopsy on a living body. It's like, okay, what happened here? Yeah, that's not good. I know doctors do, like, they get stethoscope in his... Anyway, so like it's kind of like we're doing an autopsy. It's like, what's going wrong with PlayStation? What's going on? Like, what's missing here? And I think it's clear at this point, even the way they treat indies, it's communication. Mm-hmm. Communication is going to be the Achilles heel. Mm-hmm. You know, that is the thing that is hurting them. It's the way they communicate with the fans. It's the way they're communicating with devs. It just seems off. Mm-hmm. And I don't know exactly what happened. Is it all because of Sean that would never lie to me Layden leaving? What, like, is it Herman Hulst has a different style? Where is she? What type of role does he play? We don't know this anymore. No one's talking to us. And I think the one thing that I could say I'm actively jealous about with the Xbox community is you have a Phil Spencer out there talking to us on a regular basis, going on shows that he knows he doesn't need to be a part on, but he's doing it. He's advertising his brand really well. And all we get is like Jim Ryan talking to GQ. I've never opened up a GQ magazine in my life, and I'm not starting today. So like, it's a disconnect. It's kind of like, from the feeling I'm getting is like PlayStation's trying to sell you on a lifestyle when I hear GQ. It just seems out of touch with what gamers want, which is like, hey, if you want to reach the gamers, you're not going to do it through GQ. You're going to do it through the Trophy Room PlayStation podcast. Jimbo, you're always welcome. Like stuff like that, man. It just feels, something feels off.
And the one other point there is, we know with Xbox, their first party is now gigantic, right? And they've spoke very openly and clearly, again, communication, about their future in game delivery. They want a major title every quarter in Game Pass, first party title every quarter in Game Pass. That we already know is going to be faster than every quarter in the future. And they're continuing to build out first party. They have the biggest first party. I don't know if it's in the world or not, but biggest first party of what we're talking about here by a long shot. When you look at PlayStation, they're big players, Sony Santa Monica, Naughty Dog, Sucker Punch, these giant, they're big names. We're still in a place where we don't know what Naughty Dog's next project is yet. They're supposed to be developing Factions, the multiplayer for Last of Us 2. We haven't seen or heard anything about it, right? It's been, 2.5 years since, when did Last of Us 2 launch? At least 2 years, right?
That was pandemic.
No,
that was
June,
right when the pandemic started?
June 2019, something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
June 2020.
That was pandemic time.
It was 1 year ago?
Doom Eternal, Animal Crossing, and Last of Us 2 were like the biggies. And then Ghost of Tsushima.
Like? Is it smell like toast?
No. I just, maybe that game exhausted me so much it felt longer ago.
That's right, Joe. It's not fun.
Leave that over there. But anyway, we haven't heard anything. My point where I was going with this is God of War came out 2018, Horizon 2017. I know I've talked about this before. But Guerrilla, right? So let's say Horizon releases this fall, as Joe keeps telling us, or even in the spring, whatever it is, right? Soon. That's still 5 years between games, right? So once Forbidden West launches, Guerrilla, unless they change the way they develop games or they hire hundreds of people, right? Guerrilla is basically done for this generation. Do you guys see where I'm going with this? That's their release, because for them to develop whatever their next game is, you're looking at 4 or 5 years again. You're in 2027. So
that's interesting.
Sony Santa Monica, we're in the same boat, right? We don't know what God of War, Ragnarok, whatever the official name is. We don't know how big it is. We don't know if it's a Miles-like game or a full-blown sequel. But again, 2018 is when that game came out, early 2018. It's going to be 2022, at least 4 years at a minimum before that game releases. So once I know we always talk about God of War and Horizon because those are obviously the big, gigantic AAA IPs that we all want so badly, right? Once they hit and you play through those experiences, those are two of your biggest first-party studios that may not deliver anything again for 3 to 5 years minimum, right? Mm-hmm. My point is, what is Sony doing in the first-party perspective to change that? Because we haven't seen anything yet. We saw Insomniac do some things with Miles, right? That's kind of the path. We see an expansion for Ghost coming from Sucker Punch. But again, took 6 years to develop Ghost of Tsushima. A year later, or a year and a half later, whatever the release date was for that, we get a $20 expansion. But now you're what, another few years out? So you take all those developers off the table. What are you looking at from PlayStation first party? Where I'm kind of going is we know that Xbox's first party is so big that they're going to be delivering games every quarter forever, right? Sony seems to still be built for this model where they have these big, huge hits that land, and they land like meteors. But then there's this huge gap of years before that studio produces something else. And I just don't know if that's sustainable. And Sean Layden specifically spoke about that extensively before he left PlayStation.
There's an interesting parallel with our frustration for Nintendo, because it sounds very similar to our frustration with PlayStation. Built for old style releases, one big game
every few years or several years, from a studio.
And I will note that I think we've heard last year that PlayStation had something like 50 games first party 25. In the works. What was it, bud?
25.
25. Okay, 25
with like 50. 14 new IPs or something, Joe.
Something.
Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah.
Something like
that. I was way off by doubling it by accident. But the point is, they do have stuff in the works without a doubt. But
definitely,
they are built in a way that may not be productive for the new model. That said, it is a communication thing. We don't know if they are built for it. PlayStation now has improved 10 times over from where it was. They don't market it well. It's not shown well. The service, from what I understand, not that bad. Game Pass marketed like champs all the time, constantly. For God's sakes, they made an all-for-one video that in the week it came out next to Switch hardware and a state of play, their 90s video was on socials constantly.
Yeah.
It's weird the way that the messaging is going about, and I think PlayStation is stuck between two styles of approach. Yeah. Reminds me of Sega, honest to goodness. Sega Japan and Sega America.
Well, the thing that I would say when it comes to Sony that I'm not too worried about when it comes to like Horizon or Gorilla and Santa Monica and all that is they're ramping up in different ways. So like from what I understand, Gorilla has multiple teams. Santa Monica has 2 teams. Like they're working on God of War. They keep on teasing that they have something unannounced that they're working on. Naughty Dog, it seems like that studio is married to The Last of Us remake again. So like, if Insomniac is to show what the future of first party games are going to be giving us in terms of like what they're going to be or how many games, the quantity, we're in pretty okay shape. Like Miles was a pretty decent experience, sized experience. Ratchet as well. These are 2 really good games, and we can see that in less than 8 months, both those games come out. Same studio, just different teams. That's what I think Sony is going to be doing. Is kind of using those brands, using that leadership power at those studios to crank out multiple releases that, in all honesty, I hope is smaller experiences. I can't do the 40-50 hour stuff anymore. I'm a grown-ass man. Give me something a little bit smaller.
Well, let me just enlighten you by letting you know that Assassin's Creed, they're going to be giving you a live service, non-stop, 500-hour experience, buddy.
Well, Luke, I want to know what you feel, man.
For PlayStation?
Yeah, man.
Can I add one other thing?
Go for it, Ansel.
Yeah.
Sorry. Just before you go, Luke.
How dare you?
The other reason I bring that up, and I think compounds it in my mind, and to your point, Joe, what I was saying about the studios, right? We don't know, and I think that goes back to the communication. If they have multiple teams working on multiple projects with staggered releases, and they are going to deliver on first party in this kind of more frequent cyclical nature, tell us. You're not showing us anything or telling us anything. But the other thing, Luke, which you can comment on as well, because I know you guys love Sea of Thieves. You're still playing Halo 5. There's still millions of people playing Forza Horizon 4. Forza Horizon 4 had two, I don't know how, 2 of the top 5 selling spots on Steam last week.
The editions. I saw that.
Yeah. Last week. it's 3.5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So my point being is that when you look at PlayStation games, Horizon, God of War, Spider-Man, all their big bestsellers, Ghost of Tsushima as well, they're single player games and they're fantastic. But once you beat them, they're done. There's no recurring revenue model for Sony there or PlayStation. There's no bringing in new players constantly to join a community of playing the game together, right? You can say, oh, I finally played God of War. It was amazing, and et cetera. And that's awesome. But it's a very different model. And I think PlayStation will be looking to move that way as well.
Yeah.
Because it's a gap for them.
Yeah. And it's a gap they know exists, and it is something that you could even see. Look, Insomniac's hiring for multiplayer. Guerrilla's got a multiplayer team. They're going to do some multiplayer stuff.
The contract they signed with Jade Raymond's new studio is a multiplayer game.
Yep, Firewalk, Deviation.
Ghosts added a multiplayer mode.
It slaps so good.
Which honest to God, I never would have thought.
Yeah.
Never would have thought that.
Which is fair, yeah. Sorry,
but I think you're great, man.
Don't apologize.
Processing.
He doesn't deserve the apology.
I'm just processing everything. It feels just cyclical. It feels cyclical that when you are on top of the mountain, everybody is forced to adapt in order to beat you. You know, that's exactly what happens, and you don't see often in sports or otherwise. Call of Duty professional athletes, maybe. You don't see recurring champions for extended periods of time. It doesn't happen that way consistently because people will adapt their games in order to beat you. They look at what you're doing and they look at how they're going to go about taking you down and surpassing you. I think Microsoft realized they could not go toe-to-toe at the time and the way that they were working and create a God of War-like experience, a Ghost of Tsushima experience. A Spider-Man-like experience to a lesser extent. They just weren't poised or ready to do that at the time. And so they said, okay, what else can we do? What can we do instead? How do we adapt and shift? And I think this will flip again next generation, be it Sony, Luna, or anybody else. You know,
Stadia's coming back, baby.
Atari.
They launched a console last year, didn't they? I think really and truly PlayStation is a victim of their own success, and victory has defeated them. And that's what happens. Yeah, you see it, Joe. You get that reference.
Victor has defeated you.
Victor has defeated you. The big thing with PlayStation is they've consistently delivered. And since launching the PlayStation 5, they've delivered. Yep. Returnal did very well. Not very marketable outside of its genre, but very good game. Ratchet and Clank, very good game. Undermarketed, I would argue. And Miles Morales is the game that, like many Mario games for Nintendo, every time someone buys a PlayStation, they're going to buy Miles.
Except for me.
That's just it. What's that?
I said except for me. I don't own it.
It's wild to me that you've not played that game. It's so good. I know you're not a superhero guy, which is also weird to me.
I played Spider-Man on the PS4, and I put like 15 hours into it and stopped.
That's how you could beat Miles.
Yeah.
I
beat Demon Souls, though. That's all that matters.
Anywho, the big thing is there are certain games that release, and if you buy that console, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it, and I think Miles is gonna be that game. The question will be, how long is that going to be manageable? They have that instant game collection for PlayStation Plus, which I would argue is just an incredible value, right?
Jordan, who you guys know, Jordan in the community, he's on Backlog Chronicles with Mo and the guys.
Mm-hmm.
He just got his PS5, first PlayStation he's ever owned.
Congrats, Jordan. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. And we told him, like, I was in party chat with him one night, and we were like, yes, you got your PS5, you know? And I was like, dude, what are you going to play first? You know, like, I assume you've played Uncharted and these, so why not like Ghost or something? He's like, no, I haven't played anything on PlayStation. I was like, what? Yeah, he's like, nothing. And I was like, I don't even know where to begin. I don't even know where to begin. So over the past like 2 months, he's played all of Uncharted, all of them. He's played God of War. He's played. I don't have to take the conversation over, but my point being is that a lot of that came from the PS Plus game
collection.
Collection. Thank you, that you're talking about, and it's
how many
just
beers
like.
Has this been? Ains?
Say it again.
How many beers? Is this beer 4 or 5?
I know. I'm struggling. I know. Sorry. But my point being is that for someone like him who's getting into the PlayStation ecosystem from the start, it is unbelievable value for them.
Yeah.
That PlayStation Plus PS5 collection, I call it the Instant Game Collection because of Vita, but I don't know what their tagline name is. But that Instant Game Collection for PS5 is as valuable to a new PlayStation owner as Game Pass is to an Xbox owner, right?
I wouldn't debate it.
I mean, it's just there's so many good titles in there. And while I tend to skew more towards the Xbox library just by my own interests, there is so much incredible game experience to be had on a PlayStation that you can't go wrong with it. I'm disappointed with its physical model on the PS5. It's too big.
It's got a pop collar, man. Come on.
It does have a pop collar. I am surprised that in within a year of its release, we're already talking about revisions. It reminds me of the Xbox One when everybody was like, "Oh, I'll get it when it's revised," because they didn't like how big it was. And it's again that cyclical nature, man. It's a lot of the same complaints that we make about one we apply to the next one in the next generation.
The digital PS5 is so sleek, but
it's beautiful.
It's that disc version. What were they thinking?
God bless the poor people at that marketing firm that had the PlayStation 5 upside down and filmed this multi-million-dollar commercial with it upside down, and they had to pull it. And
I don't know if you guys saw it. Someone on my timeline posted that in 2019, Herman Holst, or not 2019, what am I talking about? Like 6 months ago, again, beers. Herman Holst posted something where it showed like his TV and PS5 and his cat was like jumping at the screen at Bugsnax or something. Herman Holst in his house, his PS5 was upside down.
Oh no, is that real? That can't
absolutely
be
real. I double checked. I was like, dude, is this real? Like, show me a link to it. He provided.
Honest to God, that's why I think that revision, once the production line seems halfway normal, is happening. I think they're sick of getting memed. I think they knew they made a big mistake when they revealed it, and people were like, "Brave choice."
The problem they have, and we don't need to get too technical here, though, but the problem they have is for those of you who don't know, the board. God damn, what's in this beer?
The board in the PlayStation 5 is so big.
It's flat. It's this big, right? And the cooling system is gigantic. Whereas what Xbox did was they created a dual circuit board that basically sits like this and connects. And so they were able to compact down the form. But that's why the PS5 is so tall, because it's literally the board sitting in it like this with this giant cooling section. And then they had to add the disk drive like on the side on its pregnancy bump. And it's just not a good design.
Not a good design.
But God.
Well, that was when Xbox touted that velocity architecture, that like chip. They were like, remember that everybody was showing the chip for the Xbox One X and then the Series X, and that was like people's profile pictures and stuff.
Losers, you could say it.
It's weird. Well, I don't care about that kind of stuff. I'm not a tech guy, right? Like
no.
Our
but
OLED...
if you're putting like a picture of a chip in your profile and you're like, look at what I got, you're a fucking loser.
Yeah, like I have the pictures. I looked down, I was like, oh, this is really cool. But a profile picture? Come on.
Right now, there's like 50 listeners that are just like, oh, I don't figure much.
Here's you, Mr. Dorkbit.
He's the worst. Yo, Joe, did the package not come to your house yet? I sent you a box forever ago. I was hoping it would get to you for this episode.
You gotta track it.
So not to compare,
because I know at all.
No. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I was trying. The package is.
I was trying not to spoil anything because I know what it is.
Oh, okay.
But I just wanted to say out loud that the package I'm waiting on hasn't arrived either.
Oh, all right. Okay.
So I don't even have a shipping notification.
Oh, jeez.
So I don't know what's going on. But anyway,
it's just the worst. It's just the
worst. Hey, isn't it weird, Luke, that Ames referred to you as his wife?
What?
Just play with me. Play with me.
No one knows what you're doing.
No, I don't. I'm not that drunk.
Because he's a little tipsy.
No, I'm not that drunk. Jesus.
Like, whoa, what do you mean, Jennifer? Yeah, I don't know.
Wait, are you drinking? I don't think anyone knows what you're talking about.
Whatever, man.
swing, and miss. This is why I'm the funny one, guys. This is why I'm the funny one, all the time, constantly.
I test my material for the show, What?
And then you put it on
the trophy room. Yeah.
All right, so let me tell you how some of the people that wrote in were feeling. Let's see. Suddy gave PlayStation a 7 for this year and said they've had some solid hits, which is amusing because he gave Nintendo a 3 and Xbox a 9.
More like solid beeps.
Mojo Blues gave PlayStation a 3 next to his Xbox for a 10. And Mojo, I got to tell you, man, that feels like bias as hell. Dude. When you've got Returnal and Ratchet and Clank launching in your year and Xbox
ain't for him. It ain't for him.
It ain't for him. I get you, but like I can't fault PlayStation's year. But cheers to you. We've got Musa, who gave PlayStation an 8 out of 10 with good first-party releases. And then Dano's essay says that PlayStation 8 out of 10. He was pleased with PlayStation Plus. He likes the PS5 collection, like we talked about. He's getting some FOMO because of that. And
that's right.
He says that although they have announced 25 exclusives for the future, it's hard to imagine how many are remakes, remasters, or director's cuts, or even PSVR. He's got a good point. This whole thing of remakes, remasters, and director's cuts now is a strange trend. Now, to be clear, I am all against them until it's the game I want, and then I'm all for them, right? It's a consistent thing.
It's like, as soon as they announce Bloodborne remaster, me and Joe are going to be jumping through the roof. Like, bring it on. Day one.
As long as they're not lazy. That's the big thing.
Yes.
And
agreed.
Like, you can argue the director's cut stuff. I don't care.
Demon Souls is a perfect example. That remake is incredible. Like, absolutely incredible.
Chef's kiss.
If they gave Bloodborne a remake, which I don't like or care about Bloodborne, but if they made it like 4K, but then kept it 30, like that'd be lazy, and I'd be very upset with that, right? If you're going to remake or remaster, it needs to be done proper. And we've seen some good and bad examples of that.
Dano makes a good point. None of us mentioned, actually, though, is you mentioned the PS Plus collection, which is incredible. But PS Plus, because I think Game Pass had taken all the spotlight, right? It definitely felt like Sony had been putting more effort into their PS Plus free titles, and they've had some great titles this year, for sure. I mean, it overshadows Xbox Live Gold. Like, it's not even a comparison at this point.
It's a fantastic service that I recommend, even if you're not a big multiplayer, person. This man, like Plague Tale this month,
Destruction All-Stars. I mean, come on,
Destruction All-Stars, Bug Snacks, Operation Tango, Star Wars
did have
Squadron.
Some amazing games this year. I don't remember them, but they had several.
I don't know that they were all amazing. I think they were amazing next to Gold.
They were good titles. They weren't
I think they're good.
They're not launching, right? It's not like you get some major third-party exclusive or a new game, but it's good games if you haven't played them.
Exactly.
Fair. I'll give you that. Yeah, absolutely. We did have another listener write in, and this one, this person, Awesome Dave, noted that in our tweet for Cast Co-op, we pointed out that Joe sucks, and he does. And that's just how it is. But Awesome Dave wrote in, and he had some backup for you, Joe. And I was really glad to see that at least somebody cared about you. He said, "How dare you badmouth Joe? He's a banger of a guy. If there was a scale of bangerness, he would be near the top. Perhaps a banger amongst bangers. Don't worry, Joe. As a member of the Banger Bros, I got your back. I hope you have a banger of a day." Dave, first of all, let me just reach out to you and just talk to you and me. Thank you for supporting Joe. Okay, it's really nice of you that you were there for him and supporting him. Joe, do you want to respond to Dave? I mean, he did.
I want to talk about Joe being a part of the Banger Bros and what exactly that is.
I want to have that conversation.
I have
every episode y'all do this to me.
I have no affiliation with the Banger Bros.
Is there an ER in that, or is it just Bang Bros? Or
I've told him in Naka Chaka that they gotta rename it, and they are adamant. We are the Banger Bros for life. Yeah.
Wink if you're in a van right now.
I'm scared if I don't understand.
You don't get that? I'm not going to explain that to you right now.
Okay.
For God's sakes, get out of this particular segment, guys. Every week I say this.
AIDS,
you brought it up. You brought it up.
They seem like nice guys. They're taking me to go see my show.
Jesus.
Well,
anywho, real glad this is awesome. Dave, thanks for writing in. That's great. Remember, all of you guys can write in and find us on Twitter at cast_co-op to write in stuff on our various topics. We're still. I got nothing. Can somebody please get me the hell out of this particular portion? I'm very uncomfortable.
Luke can't even talk.
It's my fault. I know.
You wanted to read the question. You wanted me to say the Forsaken
I
word.
just wanted you to realize you had people out there that care about you, Joe.
Sure.
And those 6 or 7 people really just think you're a stand-up
Drive
dude.
taxis. It's usually a taxi, right? Come on, guys. I don't know. How do we outro the show? Do we say our individual?
You can follow
things?
me on Twitter at Insipid Ghost, and I would be most appreciative if you would check out my show, the Xbox Expansion Pass, in which I had developers, creators from around the industry on the show. I most recently had Jeff Kanata on to talk about his time in gaming and his thoughts on the future of gaming. That was really, really cool. You can find that on all your podcast services. Mr. Bowden, where can we find the Bitcast and other Season Gaming content?
Yeah, thank you. SeasonGaming.com. You can find everything there, guys. Bitcast is live every Saturday at noon. However, we are off. As you're listening to this, we are off this week for summer vacation. I'm going to be away. So we're taking a week break, which I don't think we've done in like a couple of years. So first week off in a while. But
we did not
Bitcast
trust Dan.
Bitcast is going to be changing.
Oh, really?
Nothing to really announce today, but taking it in a new direction. I probably already said more than I wanted to because I'm drinking. But taking it in a slightly new direction. So just stay tuned over the next couple of weeks. Some things to announce. It's gonna be a little different. Could be a little different going forward in a good way.
Bottom line,
in a good
if
way.
you're a fan of that new subsection on Twitch, Ains got you covered.
Yeah, more like Dan's got
live from the hot tub every Saturday. No, no, but I'm very excited about it.
It's just Dan in a hot tub eating cashews.
It would probably get more hits than we get today.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
But no, it's going to be good. I'm really excited about it. Just not announcing it at this moment, but yeah, coming in the next few weeks for sure. Nice. But other than that, yeah, seasongaming.com. Thanks as always, guys. I'm actually driving like 12 hours tomorrow. So I'm behind on podcasts because I don't know about you guys, but not driving as much. I just don't listen to as many podcasts as I used to. So I'm literally loading up like all of your guys' shows that I'm behind on, and I'm just going to podcast the whole drive.
Nice.
So
nice.
I'm excited about it.
Good. That's good.
And you can find the trophy room, a PlayStation podcast.
Achievement Hall.
Give it a few weeks. The Trophy Room, a PlayStation show over on YouTube where you can find the video version. You can find the Trophy Room wherever you find your podcast service of choice. And yeah, you can find me over at Mr. Badbit on Twitter or at PS Trophy Room on Twitter as well.
And what should people Google for your Banger Bros?
Why are we back here? Why do we gotta be back at this moment?
Onlyfans.com/BB Bros. $5 gets you in, $10 gets you a little something extra. keep casting that co-op. This is Luke's hell. Yeah.